Welcome everyone. Welcome to Pod on the Apex. Aniket and me, Pratyush, are back for another episode of this podcast that you all so dearly love. And can you hear the excitement building, guys? Australia is just 1 week away. 1 week. F1 is finally back. Oh, praise the Lord. F1 is back, baby. F1 is back. It's time to fasten your seatbelts once again and go vroom vroom. Are you excited, Aniket? The season is finally about to begin.
Very, very excited. I mean, it's not showing on my face right now, but underneath this facade, it's like a lot of excitement. It's a lot of anticipation for what's going to be a cracking season, and it's a lot of cars, going around apexes, which is what our pod is named after.
Yeah.
So, excited for the season to start in Australia, the place where it should start every year, I feel, and always a good crowd in Australia as well. This time we don't have any Australian home favorite like we've been having from the past few years. But it's still going to be a good race nevertheless, and there's a lot of excitement, a lot of teams jostling for positions. We still don't know who's on top, who's at the bottom, but we still have some topics to talk about today that we'll take our viewers through. And I think we should get cracking and let the five lights go out for this spot.
Yeah. And Aniket, come on, man. What do you mean there's no Australian favorite? Are you forgetting Mr. Oscar Piastri?
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Well,
My
Lando
sincerest
Norris really
apologies.
liked this.
My sincerest apologies. I always thought Oscar Piastri was from UK for some reason, but my sincerest apologies. Yes, Oscar is there, but I'm telling that I mean, obviously Daniel was the bigger fan favorite for all this while, so
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sure Oscar now is the fan favorite, and as well as I mean, also with his performances last season as well,
yeah.
and yeah, I think Valtteri Bottas is an honorary Australian because of his
His
girlfriend.
girlfriend, right? Yeah,
Although he's not going to step into the race car, but still, whenever he'll make an appearance, I think fans will go crazy for him as well.
yeah, yeah. He'll be on the paddock, right? He's
Yeah,
Mercedes reserve
Mercedes.
driver. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. 1 week away. Yeah. At this time next week, we'll be done with the two practice sessions. We'll have a clearer idea of where teams stand. Obviously, I think we did get a kind of a brief idea from testing, which we'll talk in a bit. But yeah, very, very excited for the season to begin once again. And the first of 24 races in once again is what's going to be a very long F1 season. But yeah, it's going to be great. And today, obviously, with the hype of the F1 season going to come soon, we had a big news reveal today, isn't it, Aniket?
Yeah, we had a big news reveal, something that just came out of left field, and it's about another team joining the F1 circus from 2026 onwards. And it's been a while. We saw this coming with say other teams also trying to get into the mix, but finally we have officially 11 team that's going to join us soon in
Yeah.
F1, and it's Cadillac, and they're going to be the second American-based team to join F1 from 26 onwards. And I think like we don't know a whole lot more about who the I mean what kind of investment they've got, and basically how the other teams are responded to it and stuff. But it does seem like something positive for F1 in terms of that the sport is still able to attract new manufacturers and new teams to come and join the sport.
Yeah, and it's been a while since F1 has had more than 10 teams on the grid. I think around 15 years ago, we used to have 12 teams. Um, but, and also, I think back in the 90s, there was a brief period where there were 13 teams, which in the modern F1 rules is a limit. You can't have more than 13 teams. But yeah, great to see, 11th team on the grid, like you said, second American team. So hopefully that increases this interest in the sport in the US, which should lead to obviously the more people watch F1, the better it gets. And
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think US already having three F1 races on the calendar,
yes.
and now it's getting another team. So definitely, there's gonna be more fans flocking to. I mean, not just for the two US teams, but also the interest in F1 is getting bigger and bigger every day in the states.
Yeah, yeah. And also Liberty Media is also an American company. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think this will, you know, really help F1 as well with, such big backing like Cadillac. General Motors is a big car manufacturer, and it's a big vote of confidence in the sport for such a big car manufacturer to come. In fact, next year we're going to see both Audi and General Motors, two storied car manufacturers, coming to the grid, right? So yeah, it's going to be great. Just need a BMW team now, right, to complete the trifecta.
Yeah, and we believe that they'll be racing with Ferrari engines from for the first
Yes.
season before they actually build their own engine and all that. So yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
think
just
it's probably be Ferrari engines for more than a season. It feels like.
yeah. I mean, it's a little unclear because on some websites it's saying one season, and yeah, some other websites it's saying a few seasons. So we're not sure
Right.
how many seasons it's going to be or whether it's just going to be one season. But yeah, if we have another works team, that means it's going to be another engine
Yeah.
manufacturer, which is also good for F1 because we've been having a monopoly of Mercedes, Ferrari,
Right.
and Honda for now, for a while now.
Yeah. And also with Renault dropping out,
Yeah,
we're also losing a
exactly.
manufacturer. But
Yep.
yeah, so apparently Cadillacs right now they only have a supplier for 2026, so that's why we don't hear anything about after that.
Yeah.
But what I've been reading is that it'll take some time for them to build out their engine facilities. So the rumor is that they start making engines from 2030, the 2030 season.
Hmm.
So yeah, next year Ferrari, maybe either Ferrari or somebody else the year after.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think it's very nice to finally see 11th team. More drama, more drivers on the grid. Um,
Yeah. More young drivers on the grid.
More young drivers, or maybe we'll see the return of Valtteri Bottas, who's always young.
Could be. Yeah. Exactly.
Or maybe it's another team for Fernando Alonso to drive for.
Another one of his worst decisions. But yeah,
Yep.
go on.
So yeah, um, let's see how Cadillac pans out next season.
Yep.
But on that note, let's come back to 2025, and also a quick uh, detour. For those who are interested, the latest season of Drive to Survive came out today. I am yet to watch it. Aniket, have you saw anything at all?
Just a few clips, and that's about it. And I don't intend to see the entire thing because, like, I've last few seasons as well, and I think the excitement was only there for the first season, but
Yeah.
after that, I didn't feel like watching it anymore. So I don't know. Maybe I'll probably see that episode where they discuss about Lewis going to Ferrari and stuff. That might be interesting.
Right, right.
And apart from that, I don't think I'll be
Yeah.
able. I'll be catching all the episodes.
There's also supposed to be a spicy Red Bull episode with all the driver shenanigans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, and in a few clips I've seen, there's going to be a lot of Toto Wolff. It seems there's going to be some Fred Buster somewhere here and there, some Christian Horner, and
Toto Wolf is a Drive to Survive celebrity now. Like he's there every time. Like you remember
yeah, it
early
should be
seasons he kind of shunned it completely, and I don't know how
exactly.
many checks they gave him, but now it's like front and center and Drive to Survive. His wife
It
also
should be
comes in
Drive to
now.
Survive, starring Toto Wolff.
Yeah, like he's become bigger than Christian Horner on that show now. Like Toto Wolf
Yeah,
comes in, Susie Wolf comes in, like the whole family business going on.
yeah, and since Mercedes have not been doing well for the past few seasons, he's got more to talk about
Yeah,
as well. So I
yeah,
think that it's
all the
good. It's good
drama.
for Drive to Survive. Apparently, from initial reviews, I think it's apparently better than the last season. So it does seem that there is some positive there, but personally, I probably wouldn't be watching most of it apart from apart from the Silverstone episode if they have got that and say
Yep.
Lewis to Ferrari. That's it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I'll probably watch the whole thing, but yeah, it won't be immediate. probably over the next few
Hmm.
weeks. Is
Yeah,
It also what
and say
I
if
guess
both of
ten
us watch it,
episodes.
we'll probably get you a episode by episode review or something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah, or like quick summary or something like that. Um, yeah, and then yeah, I think so. As we await Australia, um, testing finished. Last week
Yep.
in Bahrain. The kind of as of now the usual site for F1 preseason testing, and testing was very interesting. We did see. Let's start with Red Bull, right? So Red Bull have continued their struggles in testing. Max Verstappen, day one, he was like, "Yeah, I love the car. This is great." And then we saw all the headlines that, "Hey, Verstappen winning fifth title. Everyone be scared." But as testing progressed with 3 days, Max looked increasingly unhappy with the car, and even today, was it yesterday? He was saying that. Yeah, Max basically said we can't compete for the win in Melbourne, and which was a very interesting admission because
Yeah.
and if Max says it, you can probably be certain that it's he's being honest because he's not the media guy who's like trying to sandbag and trying to mislead people. I mean, I think we've seen it with Max. He just basically says what's on his mind and then disappears, and then Red Bull is scrambling to do the damage control.
Yeah, but I think I don't like buy it 100%. I think Max is he's putting himself in a position where say Ferrari wins, sorry, not Ferrari, Red Bull wins and
Yeah.
he wins, then he can come out and probably say, I did the unthinkable. I mean, not only the unthinkable, basically, we won this race despite being a weaker position on.
Yeah.
So he's setting himself up both ways.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't perform well, he's already made the statement that we are basically we screwed up. We cannot compete. He's already made that, and if he wins, he's already got the statement out.
Yeah.
So I think it works in his favor both ways. But anyways, I don't see Red Bull being a challenge in the first race, as you said, because of their pace, and they did show that they were behind Ferrari, McLaren, and a little bit maybe Mercedes were on their heels as well. So
Yeah.
they do look like the third. I mean, from initial readings, the third best team
Mm.
heading towards Melbourne. But you know what? You put a car in Max's hands, he can do magic with it. So yeah.
Yeah, that is true. But it seems like the car struggles with I mean, we know that Max likes a kind of oversteery car, and last year, it happened that the reason why Red Bull, kept getting worse was that apparently because Max never complained about the car getting oversteery, their engineers kept adding oversteer because that's how Max liked it, to the point that the car performance kept going down. But they didn't realize it because Max is just so damn good at driving an F1 car.
Hmm.
Um, but we saw like the whole reason for Sergio Perez's struggles was because the car kept oversteering too much and he couldn't handle it. And eventually, at some point, Max couldn't handle it, and that's when Red Bull went to the drawing board, like, "Oh, oops, we kind of messed up," and then they undid some of it, and then we saw end of the season Max go on a tear and win races. But it seems from reporters are on trackside. They were reporting that the car is again getting into that too much of oversteery business, the Red Bull, and it's affecting the drive. So we'll see if obviously Red Bull have collected a lot of data from the 3 days. So we'll see if they can kind of undo that. But yeah, they do look like the third or maybe the fourth best team, right, Aniket? Because if we move on the other top three teams, is I think basically what uh, McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes at the front, with Ferrari and Mercedes looking like they're tied for that second spot.
Yeah, I think McLaren is is up by a couple of tenths minimum,
Yeah,
based on what the two rings are coming out of testing. And some people are saying they might have hidden a bit of power in their back pocket as well.
yeah,
So it's a little ominous and scary sign for the other teams playing catch up already. So But they have been on a tear since winning the constructors, and they are they're going to leave their mark on the season, being in the last leg of its regulation.
Yeah.
So I feel that they're going to start off as favorites, and the testing did nothing to prove otherwise. So they're going to be good unless suddenly the team just falls off completely in the first race. They're going to be there challenging for pole and perhaps the win, and it could be an easy 1-2 for them. Coming to Ferrari, I feel that just before I hand it back to you, just a quick one on Ferrari. I
Yeah.
think Charles is definitely uh, going to have the better start over Lewis. Lewis might take a couple of races to acclimatize to the car and all that. I mean, we know we've said 100 things about Lewis, but this is the first time in what 13, 14 years he's driving a new power unit in a new car. So basically since his F1 career began, because he's always been on a Mercedes Benz power unit. So now it's like a different power unit, different configurations, and different teams. So he's loving environment there. I'm not saying he's had a difficult start or something.
More pasta.
More, Ch- grazie ragazzi. He's learning Italian, everything. So he's doing everything he can to make himself feel comfortable in the team as well as doing everything it can. So, but once you get into that car in Melbourne, it's all going to be on you. So I still have a feeling it might take him a couple of races, despite being the biggest Lewis fan, there probably will be. I think it'll take a couple of races, and Charles will be the one to take Ferrari forwards in the first few races. And from testing, it does seem that Ferrari did have a good couple of days, but the last day did not go so well, with Lewis having probably done only half the laps that he was, allocated for because of some issues. So
Yeah, they did have some
that
issues.
means they did have some issues. So Ferrari just seem like they're going into this on the back of trying to rectify an issue, and that makes the team a little like vulnerable to any more issues coming up later. But we'll see. At this point, they're still the second best team from the analysis that's going on. So we'll see if it holds true in Melbourne as well, or if they take a step to challenge McLaren, uh, for the top spot.
Yeah, it does feel
And you
like
can probably talk about Mercedes as well because they have Kimi Antonelli now instead of Lewis Hamilton, and George is also there.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, that is there. I think Mercedes probably also look better than they should because of colder weather in Bahrain first couple of days, which is what a lot of analysts are kind of caveating Mercedes' performance with, because I think in the ground effect era, Mercedes has preferred colder weather. They always perform better when it's colder, and with Bahrain being cooler than normal, they probably got that boost as well. But I do want to come back to McLaren. I think on day two when they did race simulations, most of the teams did long race simulations on day two, and turns out McLaren finished that. Obviously, I think there was some extrapolation and some calculations from analysts, but uh, turns out McLaren finished 30 seconds ahead of the rest, which is reminds you of 2021 when you had like Lewis and Max on the front and then everybody else behind like 40 seconds. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so that doesn't sound promising at all. If McLaren has if they are successful in eking out that last bit of performance from this era of regulations, and if the other teams have
Hmm.
not figured out as yet, obviously it's a long season, there's going to be a lot of technical development that goes on, but
Hmm.
yeah, we might be in for at least first few races of McLaren just dominating, if that's really the case. And
Hmm.
like we saw last season, Max Verstappen won the first six out of the first eight races, something like that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that basically kept him good for the rest of the season. He built too much of a gap, and um,
Hmm.
eventually the gap was too much for Lando to catch, right?
Yeah.
So, and we saw that 2009 as well. Braun won the first six races, didn't win a race after that, still won the championship. So if McLaren get a good start, win like the first six or seven races, then it might be hard. With everybody else just
It might be
fighting
hard.
and dividing the wins between them, and nobody really kind of, you know,
Yeah, I mean they can establish such a big lead in those first 7 to 6 to 8 races that
yeah,
The other teams will just be squabbling for
Right.
positions and development race, and it'll be too late by the time others try to catch up. So McLaren is going to come. They're going to come start off with the bang. They're going to try to get
Yeah.
maximum points, one, two, fastest lap, pole position,
Right.
whatever,
Well, no
whatever
fastest
points are
lap this
available.
time, which is
Yeah,
thank God.
exactly. So, but whatever is available, they try to get everything. It's not a sprint race, also, right? So I'm guessing Australia. So obviously,
No, just a
just a
standard
traditional. Yeah.
traditional race.
So yeah, McLaren favorites, Ferrari second favorites, and Red Bull, Mercedes. I guess they're a third, and or
Yeah.
Max probably the odd one out there. He can upset the apple cards anytime. So, but apart from that, the other teams are kind of just squabbling for positions. I feel with no clear precedent as to who's on top right now.
Yeah.
And as people have probably watched, or should watch in our uh, previous rankings video, which we did, ranking all the teams based on certain things which they had in testing, and new drivers, and in team environment, and so on. We saw that there's not a lot to choose between the teams in terms of their performance, but it's more along the side of the drivers and how they did last season as well. So, I mean, a quick, like, couple of minutes on this basically is what is probably what is probably we can do, what probably we can do on this, because there's not much to talk about them, because everyone seems to be there or thereabouts, fighting for those last few points position spots, like Aston Martin, Williams, and we can
Yeah.
put Haas into this mix as well, and Alpine as well. So I guess these four teams probably might be there and thereabouts fighting for points,
Mm.
you know yeah, every other race.
Yeah. No, totally. But I think a big team to watch out for this season is Williams. They seem to have made massive strides. Obviously, we have been seeing their improvement over the last few seasons. Despite them finishing ninth last season, they just had a very unlucky streak with crashes and other teams bumping into them. But I think Williams have made taken big strides, right? Day two we saw, was it Carlos
Yeah.
Sainz the fastest, or Alex Albon, one of the two, fastest in day two of testing. I mean, sure they use a softer tire and all that, but still it's impressive that they were able to do that. So yeah, let me ask you this: what are your hopes for Williams this season? Better than Aston Martin? I know we rated them better than Aston Martin in our video,
Yeah,
but do you think they can take that step up? Has James Walls got it?
I think it's more for the drivers to take it forward. Like, Carlos, we know, has huge experience with racing for a top team. So if we can get some of that to Williams, then it'll help them, drive further ahead. And Alex Albon is now pretty experienced in F1. He knows what it takes to get points, just to win races, to get on the podium as well. So he's also someone who's been looking for a challenge since he had Logan Sargent as his teammate. He got a good one in Franco Colapinto, and now he gets probably one of his ultimate tests after leaving Red Bull in Carlos Sainz. So it does seem like I mean, basically the camaraderie and the competition between the two will help the team to drive forward as well.
Yeah.
So in terms of expectation, it's probably just regular point scoring is something I would like them to get first. Say if the top eight positions are occupied by the top four teams, then I would expect Williams to at least grab a single point scoring position, be it ninth or tenth, regularly, and that is going to help them to progress, furthermore, and take advantages of, say top teams falling, and then they can take the chance and get into a top five position or
Yeah.
top seven position.
Yeah, but also two of the top four teams have rookies, so it's probably even a greater opportunity. I don't think a Kimi Antonelli or a Liam Lawson will be as consistent as say George Russell or Max Verstappen.
Mm.
I mean, if they are
Mm.
fantastic, but
Yeah,
there's a nature of sport, um, which probably gives more opportunity for Alex Albon or Carlos Sainz or even Fernando Alonso to get some of those places. Mm.
agree.
Yeah, and talking about Alonso, do you think Aston Martin didn't look good in testing at all? I mean, sure, they might be better than a Sauber or a Alpine,
Alpine, maybe, I don't know.
but yeah,
Mhm.
they didn't exactly set the world alight in testing, and I think Alonso will be. I don't know. I don't know. I want to be. I want to know what's going on in Alonso's brain. Like, poor guy seems to
I
make the worst decisions, like the anti Lewis Hamilton on the sport.
yeah, I mean Alonso is one of those characters, right? He's one who doesn't stop talking as well. So if Aston Martin produces a car or has a car that's absolutely dog shit, he's going to come out and say it, and we'll hear it, and the entire world will hear it over the team radio.
Yeah.
So Aston Martin better hope that they've produced or they've developed a car which is at least fighting for the points every race.
Yeah. Uh,
Otherwise, they're going to be a big trouble. And I don't know if Adrian Newey's imprint is going to be on any kind of development on this year's car,
yeah. Yeah.
or it'll only focus on next year's car. But they definitely do need his imprint soon, and it
Right.
better be soon if they start off the season with a no-show in Melbourne.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing his imprint will more be on next season because even at Red Bull, he was more the big picture kind of guy. I don't think he really
Yeah,
did. I think Pierre Vache and others were the more day to day kind of folks. Yeah, this guy's he's more like big picture how the car design should be and all that. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe Aston Martin will like, hey, our guys are shit. Build us a better car for this season.
yeah. There's a lot of stories over Adrian Newey, like how he built different versions of car. I mean, at that time in the 2000s, when you have the money and you could do it, like
Yeah.
he built a car which never raced in F1
Oh,
in for McLaren.
I see.
Yeah, so basically he has done all that, all those different kinds of things. So obviously now he won't be able to build a car, but
Hmm.
he can definitely leave his imprint on some of the updates.
Yeah. No, totally. But I think the kind of guy that Mr. Lawrence Stroll is, uh, he'll be very pissed if Adrian Newey built a car which never went to the F1 track.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably do a short video about that. And we'll post it on our Instagram page as well, so that the viewers know which car we're talking about.
Yeah.
Uh, there's not been a lot of footage on that McLaren car which never raced, but we still have a couple of pictures and stuff. But we know that some of the reasons as to why it never raced, so we'll talk about that
Yeah.
in probably a minute or so and go up on our Instagram feed. But yeah, Lawrence Stroll better not be pissed. But Aiden Newey is still worth taking the gamble and paying
Yeah.
all that money, yeah, as long as he gets them to a position where Lawrence Stroll aspires to be. What? No, sorry, I'm using the wrong word. He aspires to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, but I still wonder if Adrian Newey came to Ferrari, what would have been? Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Fred Vassar, and Adrian Newey. My God.
It's one of those what ifs we'll probably
Yeah.
keep asking us. In case Ferrari, I don't know. What do you think could be something which would have happened if Newey came? I don't know. We'll have to wait, right? Say Ferrari came second. Do you think if Newey was they would be first in championship
Yeah. Again, for
or
this
something like that? Like, how
season,
do we like even bring other hypothesis? Like, if Newey was here, Ferrari would have been better. So, how do we know that?
yeah, again, I don't know for this season if you can really say because with Newey being the big picture kind of guy and this season's car probably already mostly locked in by the time Newey could start. I don't see Newey again, even whether it's Aston Martin or Ferrari affecting 2025 a lot. I think his focus would more be on the new regulations next season. And there's a lot of aero changes as well in 2026. So yeah, I would say like for example, if Ferrari finished say third in 2026, then yeah, that would be a very big what if. Like, oh, if they had Adrian Newey, maybe they finish first, or maybe they just outright won the championship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but hopefully that's not the case and they win the championship. So we'll see.
Yes. Yeah. We're also seeing a lot of chatter about Lewis Hamilton being very motivated to win his eighth title. Like literally, the official F1 website is publishing these stories. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah,
they're really hyping Lewis up a lot. And yes, Lewis and Ferrari is yeah, I think basically kind of every media house's biggest wildest dream come true. The most storied sports team with one of the greatest F1 drivers of all time coming together finally after so much of flirting from Ferrari over the years.
Yeah, it's a great story, and that's the reason why the content on Ferrari this season has been something which has never been.
Yeah.
When has Sky Sports ever focused on Ferrari this
Yeah,
much?
man.
I know, right? I mean, apart from, I mean, this season has been incredible. Like any
Yeah.
English outlet, any like media outlet,
Yeah,
they focus on Ferrari.
the only version of Sky that focused on Ferrari was Sky Sports Italia.
Yes. So you have Sky Sports UK bringing their full crew to Italy for
Yeah.
every damn event which Lewis has been a part of. So it's been crazy. It's been, Ferrari social media team is on another level. When was Ferrari's social media team this good? And I've been
Never.
following them on Instagram, and they've never been this good. Suddenly
Never.
now they are on
Yeah.
different level
They're also very
with
late
their
to social media. They kind of shunned social media and all public relations kind. They went on Drive
yeah.
to Survive for the first two seasons. They really hated all of this. They're a very traditional Italian, kind of outfit.
Yeah, and credit to Lewis, he's adapting well. We don't know how he's going to perform, and for now we can probably say Charles is there, going to be there number one.
Yeah, yeah,
For the first couple of races, still say Lewis, comes back to form. I mean, we should never doubt Lewis. I don't want to ever doubt him. He might just go and beat Charles in the first race itself, and
no, agreed. But I think
you
Lewis
never know.
probably needs like you said, couple of races to kind of get tuned to the car, see how much he can push
Yeah.
it. Especially considering his testing was cut short for we don't know
Mhm.
why, but
Yeah. But he does seem happy, as you said. He does seem like someone who's rejuvenated. We hadn't seen like this, hadn't seen him like this since
oh yeah,
his last championship with Mercedes, or some part of 2021, where he won those magnificent races in Brazil and Saudi and Qatar and stuff. So, and it's been a long time coming. So, F1 is in a good place with Lewis at Ferrari. It seems like that, and we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed he does well, and he contributes to at least one of Ferrari's uh,
yeah.
titles this season.
Yeah, and even Lewis has been like, "Oh, I want to win multiple titles with Ferrari." I'm like, "Dude, wait a minute. You were ready to call it quits after winning number 8, and now you're like, you want more than 8." That guy
As long as he has
seems,
the motivation.
yeah, he really seems reinvigorated. I haven't seen Lewis this aggressive in a while. Uh,
Mm. He does, he does. And he's showing all his love for Ferrari also, the way they've treated him,
yeah,
the way the fans have treated him, and he's pouring his sweat, his heart, his whatever, his hard work, and it does seem like it'll be a successful season
yeah,
when it's all said and done.
yeah. I guess the Tifosi was probably Lewis's final frontier in a way because he
Yeah,
always raced for Mercedes. The Tifosi always hated Lewis Hamilton. They never really warmed up to him, even though he's one of the greatest drivers. Obviously, the Tifosi um, never liked that one of Schumacher, who was considered as one of their own, is being challenged. But now with Lewis Hamilton jumping to Ferrari, they're like, oh yeah, he's one of our own. Let's go. Win 8 titles with
yeah,
just with us.
I know, right? And we are all set up for an incredible season, I think,
Yeah,
with so many different faces and new teams, and
yeah.
yeah, it's
But
gonna be one roller
did you
coaster.
see? Yeah, as we wrap up, I think did you see the funniest thing during testing was Haas just losing pieces of bodywork in the air and Komatsu having no clue what's going on.
I did see that, and I don't know what to make of it because we don't know what the reason was for that bodywork to
Yeah.
come off. So it was very strange.
Yeah, I wonder if the Haas meme is going to be back.
Yeah, I mean, maybe hopefully those problems don't continue in Australia, but if that's
Yeah,
the case, then it does seem like it could be some issue with how the car is they're constructed and stuff. So
right, right.
hoping it's not a major case.
Yeah. And also, another thing we saw in testing was more Mini DRS controversies.
Yeah,
Looks like the issue has not been put to bed, and we might see more of this. Yeah, F1 never disappoints with the drama, and this year it just started before the first race, even.
there's going to be a lot of complaining and stuff because this is the final set of regulations change. So
Yeah.
anyone trying to do anything which catches the eye of other teams, they're going to scrutinize, and who knows what's going to happen after that.
Yeah, and also feels like, all the teams are so close to the peak. Everybody's trying to get that squeeze out that final 10th, and everybody's
Yeah,
watching everybody with that eagle eye, like, hey, who's doing illegal nonsense here? Yeah, we will. We'll
We
we will
one
keep you posted
one
on that.
one last thing before we close out is the speculation on the V10 engines. I mean, it was a recent topic which was raised by the FIA president, and I think Lewis also recently spoke about it in a Ferrari event, saying that he would love to see V10 engines, obviously with zero carbon footprint and all that. But there's been talk recently. We've not had a V10 engines revival for a long, long time now. So
Yeah,
it's at least good that they're talking about it.
but yeah, I will say one thing. I will not trust anything that Muhammad bin Sulayem says. He's probably trying. He's just trying to overcompensate for all the negative
Hmm.
feedback he's been getting with the swearing ban and all those things, and the fans really turning on him. There were reports that the top brass of the FIA, who elects, the people who elect the president, may also be turning on him. So this just him, trying to curry favor. Like Beatles are not happening anytime
Yeah.
soon. We have the engines set in stone for 2026. That will probably,
Yeah, not
go on for
anytime
another
soon,
five
but maybe
years.
another 5 years, maybe if it comes back, at least they start working towards it. Then who knows what will happen?
Yeah,
But yeah, as you said, it's very difficult to trust the president
right.
because of all shit shenanigans he's pulled off
Exactly.
recently.
And also, yeah. Just one last mini rant before we sign off. The whole thing of F1 saying net carbon neutral and all that is such a sham. Trying to skim the cars and all that is such a it feels like such a sham, because if you actually look at where F1's greatest emissions come from, it's from all the traveling.
Hmm.
All these private jets, and not just private jets, all these massive cargo planes flying 20 cars, you know zipping across the world, emits far more carbon emissions than a 2-hour race, right? And I think a bigger reason that we're not seeing a lot of V10s or even V8s now, and why it became V6, is that car manufacturers didn't want to invest in V10s. Who makes V10 engines anymore? It's all electric cars and hybrid cars,
Yeah,
right? If you take a lot of the engine manufacturers, Mercedes, Renault, I mean not Renault now, but historically Renault, Mercedes, Honda, none of them make
Ferrari.
V10 cars. Like, yeah, Ferrari is probably an exception because they are
Yeah,
a sports car. But
sports car.
again, the rest, Mercedes makes a lot of road cars, right? It's not the even though they're branded as Mercedes AMG, it's not AMG that is making the F1 cars. It's the road Mercedes, right? It's the standard Mercedes thing. So yeah, and none of them want to invest heavily into V10s or V8s when there's no output for their actual business. So I think that's why we kind of we had V12s, we came down to V10s, and just came down to V6s eventually. So I think that's the
Yeah.
bigger reason. The whole environmental thing is a sham given by the FIA. While they fly 20 cars and a whole bunch of personnel, uh, we have like triple headers now. How much, uh, if you look at F1 logistics, when they have double headers or triple headers, it's really hard for a team to pack up everything and send. Like a race ends on Sunday afternoon, and the next race, say it, the team's set up by Thursday. It's really hard for a team to dismantle everything and set up everything in 3 days, right? So when you have double headers and triple headers, a lot of the times what teams do is, apart from the cars, obviously the cars get transported. A lot of the other, supporting infra, they just build another set and ship it to the next venue ahead of time, right? So again, now this is adding more carbon emissions, and we have so many double and triple headers now, right? Nobody talks about that, and we kind of blame V10s for our emissions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Totally agree.
yeah. So yeah, I
And
think
especially when the number of races also increase each year,
yeah,
and you're trying to put a cap, but because there's so much of interest for it continue towards F1,
yeah,
then there's more flying as well. So that adds to more carbon emissions. So
yeah.
I
Growing up, we had
totally
15
get
to
your point.
17 races. Now it's 24. And F1 is like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we have V6s now. We have an MGUK and MGUH. What about the 24 times you're flying in a year?
Yeah, man. Agree.
But yeah, anyways, with that, I think we come at the end of this episode. Not a lot of things this week. We're just kind of, I think, looking forward to Australia. Testing is done, practice is done. Your trainings are done, your prep is done. It's time for evaluations, examinations now.
I agree, and I think the teams as well as we will take a quick pit stop for a few days, and then come back again. Next week
Yeah.
to get the to get Australia rolling, basically preview and do some analysis and try to figure out where things stand or where the team stand after practice. Maybe we'll do a pod next Friday after practice one and practice two to just to get a
Yeah.
understanding of how the teams are faring in their first couple of practice sessions of the year. And while you're at it, do watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel there. We are on all alongside YouTube. We are also on all the streaming platforms, or the podcast streaming platform, which is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the other podcast platforms wherever you listen to it. So give us a 5-star review there, leave a comment, and we'd love to read it on our show as well.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, do send it to us and we will answer it live on the stream. Um, and as always, we go live on Twitch, the recordings go up on YouTube. And yeah, that's it from us.
That's it from us, and we are Pod on the Apex.
And we'll see you next week.